Good afternoon, everybody, and well, thank you for making it. And well, for those of you, I mean, I know there's a few members in the audience, but for those of you that aren't members, I thought I'd just kind of give you just a quick background on who we are. We're the Industry Association, as it says up there, for e-business. We represent more than 1,000 companies, both large and small, everybody from Amazon to Zavvi, by way of people like Sainsbury's and ASOS and House of Fraser. But we're also, within our membership, it's very much about the enablers as well. So we've got people like Google, IBM, Microsoft, and the guys that are actually helping the retailers achieve the sales that they need to do online. As it says, we've been setting and maintaining pragmatic and robust e-retail standards. It all sounds very grand, but basically what we're interested in is helping retailers sell more product, and how do we work that within the industry. We've been going for 20 years, and for the astute of you amongst the audience, you'll notice that actually predates the internet. We actually started off as a research project with Deloitte 20 years ago, which was looking at the use of interactive kiosks in retail stores, and they were moving data around between the stores on these, for those of you that are over 30, huge great laser discs. They're like sort of 12-inch CDs basically. We were looking at how we could kind of get that information around the stores, and the internet started, and the retailers that were involved in the research project asked IMRG, as it was about to be then, to look at this new interwebbing thing and see how that was going to impact on retail, and that's really where IMRG started. So, what's happening in the market at the moment? Well, we've just gone this quarter, we're doing some work with British population statistics. There are a group of people that are doing some really interesting studies. They've got about 8,000 people that they're talking to on a monthly basis, actually in their homes. So this isn't skewed by doing a research piece that's online. This is actually offline research that's talking about what's happening online. And so as you can see from this graph, we're actually now in the majority, 51.1% of the UK population are now shopping online. And apart from that, we've got 76% of Britons having access to the internet, and 13% of internet users accessing via mobile devices, and I'll touch on that again, because really what I want to do is just give you a flavour of some of the trends that are coming through at the moment. As more and more people have access to the internet, it's no surprise that shopping is very important for the British consumer, and it's the fourth most popular activity now that we're seeing that they're doing when they're online. And from a market point of view, throughout 2009, we saw growth in the market around about between 10 and 20%, evened out as an average around about 14%. And a lot of that actually was driven by clothing, footwear and accessories. That's been a really good area for growth over the last 2 or 3 years, and we've seen a lot of growth potential. People like ASOS and those kind of guys. You've seen it in the press. That's being reflected within the sales that we're seeing through the IMRG index. Just to kind of give you a bit of a flavour of what's happening offline as well. Two graphs here. Blue is online, and the pink is offline. They've been rebased, and as you can see, for 10 years, offline sales have been fairly flat, apart from the peaks that you get at Christmas, whereas online has continued to grow since we started measuring it back in 2000. Interestingly though, the last few months offline we've seen rises of around about 5%. So there is real good evidence now that we're coming out of any kind of recessionary pressures that were on the UK in sort of 2008 and 2009. And retail, both online and offline, has been growing over the last 2 or 3 months. Just going back just a little bit on 2009 then, growth was maintained. We saw a 14% increase year on year from 2008. We estimated the market value to be around nearly 50 billion. Just so that you know, we also measure not just retail sales, but we also measure ticketing and travel as well. So we're interested in e-commerce sales within IMRG. So we want to know what the consumer is spending online, whether or not they're buying tickets to go to a show, to go on holiday, or indeed to buy a product. So that's why our figure is always that little bit higher than you might see from ONS or the BRC. And then, to reflect that, we've got 61% of the UK now, a population of managing their finances online, and 52% of us are regularly booking their holidays online. A little bit of research we did at Christmas, 41% of the consumers are planning to spend more online in Christmas 2010 due to a positive online experience this year. We're finding, and I'll come on to that in a little bit in a moment, the period October to December, you get a lot of new trialists coming online. And it's very important that they're getting a good experience when they do come online for the first time. So 2010 is going to be, we were looking at that, we thought, well, it's going to be a difficult year. Growth in online shoppers is reaching maturity. We've got the wider impact of continued economic uncertainty, tax rises and unemployment, and that is countered to a lot of extent by innovation by retailers in driving their gross orders and improving order value. A lot of work being done, and there's a few of the speakers today in terms about their whole kind of consumer engagement online and getting more of it out of that consumer when they're on your website. So it'll be interesting to see what a few of our speakers have got to say about that. And this increasing online activity is providing potential for increasing website visitors. So overall, we're forecasting that growth in 2010 will probably be around about 13%. And that will give us a year end of around about 56 billion. So at the start of the year, actually, we saw quite a poor start, 5% growth. A lot of that actually was a reflection of what happened in 2008. In the run-up to Christmas 2008, if you remember, we had the impact of the recession and the credit crunch. There was an awful lot of products swilling around in the marketplace. And that obviously had to get shifted in January 2009. So by January 2010, retailers were in a much better position. Stocks in the run-up to Christmas were a lot tighter, more carefully managed, so therefore we didn't see quite as big a growth. But come February, we've been on this quite steep curve actually for the start of the year. So we're actually now outperforming our forecast. So I'm going to have to get my crystal ball out again soon and just maybe reforecast for the second half of the year. But very strong performances in May and June, 22%, 20% up year on year. So very good news for the online retailers.